and welcome to casual trading on a Tuesday evening. Hope you can hear us okay. We noticed on the previous stream that our microphone was a little bit too quiet compared to the surrounding from the game. Hope visually is okay. YouTube says green online. What does Twitch say? Twitch also streams properly nice. As you can see, we are here in our vulture. We did bad luck last night. Yeah, it was really light. And we hope that we are not in... Yeah, we are still on the ground. So we have basically no idea from what it is, depending on if we respawn after bad logging planetary side, I mean underground like we do now, and what we need to do or to avoid not to wake up in deep space. Because if that is not working reliable, or we haven't figured out what the cause is to wake up after bad luck in the middle of nowhere, I mean, it's not really in the middle of nowhere, it's in the middle of the star system. Here it would be Pyro, and in Stanton it would be in Stanton. Because that would mean, if you want to have a reliable experience on bad logging, you need to figure that out, and if you don't, you always need to make sure that you have enough quantum fuel in your ship to make it from the center of the star system to wherever you want to. So we do casual trading today. That means we will go buy stuff, and because we are in the vulture, we probably won't transport anything, we just buy stuff. And we have our trading list. We open up that one to see where we need to go. Now we are on Bloom. That means Golden Riviera is the closest one, 17 gigamiles on the other side of the planet. Yeah, we like that kind of worn and torn look, and this is probably the third day in a row without spending the night, as you would say, logging out of the game inside of a station. We always bad locked, and that's why the ship looks like that, and we really love the aesthetics of it. I'm not sure if you noticed that one here, that little man. We saw that we have that little man in our inventory, and while we did the ship configuration for the Vulture, which is a stealth configuration, we saw that we can mount that little man up there. It's kind of hidden, yeah, for $5 in the subscriber store or something like that. It doesn't do anything for the game, it doesn't do anything for anything. Basically, it's just a way to spend money into this project, not really to supporting it, just to have some sort of a role play or make this bridge, this cabin, a more livable space with your customized apparel. So what do we have down here? It looks like a thick 600i, 16 kilometers. Let's have a check. Yeah, at least it is a big ship. It has a name on it. And faction unknown. Are we too far away? Where do we see the owner? It's in quantum mode, but everything offline. So at least it is turned off. There is an Asgard probably. Also damaged. Let's have a look. So for doing this, let's say trading stuff where we just buy stuff but don't transport it, it is kind of interesting to see what's get unfolded when you fly around with the vulture. Because when you see the ranged ships, that is every time an opportunity to create some boxes. And this is what we want to do here. We're gonna check out. Yeah, 600. Do we have a better readout now? It kinda looks like default configuration. No cargo. Let's see if the bay is down. Probably not. No. So it is basically just an abandoned ship. And this is something what we noticed in the vulture. And as you can see where it is in a specific area of the screen. Yeah. To avoid eye cancer, we do that in third person. This is something that could be client related. Yeah, Microsoft wants again to have some updates on our computer, and we do not like that. Because our experience is every time when we do Windows updates, something in Star Citizen or around Star Citizen doesn't work anymore afterward. That's why we really try to avoid to install updates. And also the display, the graphics driver is waiting for installation. It might be that is necessary to do that because Windows interact with the graphics adapted to the driver, and can be that there is something going on. So what do we have? We have 2 abroad active. Yeah, they say that they changed something in the ratio of how fast you can scrap the hull from the ship. And there had been more dedicated testers out there that did actually a testing and compared not only what scraper module is attached, but also the ratio itself. Someone, I think it was SC Halls or whatnot, did a testing on narrow and did a side-by-side comparison, and the time in order to complete the aero contract massively decreased, so the effort is not that big anymore, or time intensive rather said, but that also would mean that the hopper, the buffer, is filled up way faster if there is enough. And yes, we are on 6 of 13 SUs already. Probably we had some material already in the buffer from yesterday's session. Not sure. One SU left, and then the hub is full. That is only 14 kilometers. Okay, 14 kilometers is quite a distance. Not sure if we should. No, we don't. We go to Riviera. Print the boxes and sell it. That hurts. One ship by now. All this material we wanted to bring to arbitrary, but missed it last time. So move that aside a bit. Does anybody know what this kind of movement is that's going on here? It is super annoying. As if there is some sort of a hiccup. Yeah, in economic sense, salvaging isn't worth the effort if it comes to make money, since what is the name? Inflation, where money has no value anymore, you can not do much. I mean, you can sustain, you still can repair, fuel, and buy armor and ammunition to have basically a living inside the verse, but you do not make progress only through salvaging, especially not in a vulture. I mean, you can do that as a main activity, only doing salvaging, like we just did. That would mean, if that would be the case, we need to fly back these 14 kilometers to the 600i, because the 600i gives quite some RMC boxes, which is awesome. But that would also mean that we would need to store the ship components here in the warehouse over here, just to have more capacity in the ship. Alright, all done. $13, $12, okay. Doesn't look like somebody's here, but that looked damaged. Not sure if skill issue or a fight, but we do not care much. This looks great. So we buy item at Riviera at max inventory to a price of 7,401. That is cheaper than it was the last time. 180 SCUs in total, but we only buy 176. We just want to have these 8 SCU boxes. Oh, look at that. Hosadian. We need to be fast. 4 SCU, 1 box. No, we cannot. Osa. Riviera. That is the first time that we see that it is on very high. And green. So what is the price? 1194.610. 1.2 mil almost. 1.2 mil is a unit. And you only can buy 4 SCU boxes. So it looks like as if max inventory would be at 5. And because we only can buy 4 SCU, that means we only can buy 1 box. And then we have Alcatrucian. Max inventory. Outrucian. Golden. Max. That is 3.647. 400, and we buy also 8 SCUs. Eight SCUs. How many did we buy? Do we have a problem with the limit? Ooh, yeah, we have a problem with. Ooh, fuck. We exceeded. Oh no, we exceeded. So we need to sell some stuff here. Sell RMC to clear out inventory. Just 12 SU, but that's a huge problem. And the other thing is we ran out of money. Fuck, we cannot buy obsidian. No, that's a pity. That's a pity. Once we have the chance to buy Osoyan Heights, we do not have the fund. We need to ask friends. But that also means that inventory status is 1,200 almost. Yeah. Let's have a chance. Check if Star Citizen is fast enough. So what we try is make some space in the warehouse. As you can see, we are way too high to have. We need to make 24 at least space. Yeah, this wallet app also becomes worse and worse. So be fast, quick. That would be a real happy accident. Up until now we never saw more than low capacity. See, 297. Pair SCU. Okay, we will wait here a sec. Yeah. And our clock is now 1850. Four minutes later, we need to be careful that we do not log off due to idle. Yeah, can't imagine that this would be back in the days at the stock market when you had these idle times and waited for the peak where you could sell. In our case, it's opposite, where we can buy. There's another commodity at Scraperton, I think is the location, where you can buy also not that ultimate rare stuff, but something that you cannot buy probably somewhere else. Yeah, that is the thing, you cannot buy it somewhere else. And you need to bypass the turrets in order to get to the terminal. And that terminal also always had one SCU available. But the smallest unit is probably 2 SCU or something, don't know. And it had the same effect like the Osoyan Heights. Just looking over to Rathon. Jump hole doesn't work. It's always a waste of time. When you want to go to the other system, and you fly through the whole hole, and at the end you end up at the same place like you started out, with less fuel capacity. Always a pain. Ooh. Do we need to take care about temperature? No. Hey. What do you mean with scammed? I don't think that NPCs actually steal commodities. They may attack you, yes. They may kill you, but they don't steal commodities. If that happened, that the boxes had been gone when you came back or whatnot, then it was players, definitely players. Or box, of course, elevator box, always a possibility. The other way to do trading would be through piracy. You just wait, someone else is buying and loading the ship, and then you're the one taking the boxes away. Or wait on the destination until they start unloading, and then you do not have to do the work because they already did it. If you had been too early, you just would need to unload the ship, or you wait until they do unloading the ship, and then right before they want to lower the elevator, you do the attack. But yeah, that would be piracy, of course. It's not trading in a comprehensive manner. Did they change something with the fuel? Was that with the whole sea? No, it's not really forcing you to become a bad guy. It's really... you can consider it as a spiritual test. Spiritual test. Can you... stay true to yourself, basically? And yeah, but we completely agree on that experience. We had been at that point as well, where we thought, what are we even doing here? I mean, for a salvager, when you do scrapping with the vulture, it is a lot of effort to get some boxes, and then when somebody shows up and attacks your ship just to get the boxes after you had done the hard work, it's really painful. And maybe after a while, the first 1 or 2 times it just hurts, and after a while when it's repeat, it's kind of like either you didn't learn, or it really makes you thinking about if you should switch gears. Yeah, we are basically waiting here. Now we have 1902. That means it's 12 minutes, and we cannot see difference, at least not on the Ossian heights here. But what does that mean? Because Etym, I think it changed into... yeah, when the terminal says into freighter cargo, that means it would have been considered to be whole sea commodity. And the raft only works when you have the raft stored in the hangar at the location where you want to do the trading stuff. You need to wait inside the hangar until any animation of the hangar stuff finished and the lights turned back on. No sound, no light blinking, nothing. The hangar is completely kind of like standby mode. Then you can press the elevator and leave the hangar. Then you go to the terminal and you do choose on top left the raft, because you will see the raft, but you also would see the raft when it's not stored. And that's the issue. You need to have the ship stored in the hangar in order to have the autoload function from the terminal. Then it does the autoloading, usually of course, and it takes some time and you need to wait. You cannot retrieve the ship anyways because it's kind of blocked. Yeah, we never ever could do anything with the raft. We did a test run for this resource drive thing because it was an opportunity, but we knew at the beginning that we wouldn't like it, but we had to force ourselves to go into it and pretend as if this is the ship, the only ship we have to do cargo. And after, I think it was 1 week, after 1 week doing daily raft hauling, we got our confirmation. No, the raft is not our ship. Definitely not. Yeah, the Atlas, we had the same issue. We couldn't stick the Atlas to the grid, and Oh, there was a change. Now we saw item changed. That was an inventory cycle 1905. That would be exactly 15 minutes the next time. So this is a cycle 1905, 1903. Sorry to interrupt. 1905, no, 03 was a cycle. And 12 minutes later, would be 1915. Yeah, next inventory cycle. Yeah, the raft. We managed once to attach the atlas to the grid, but then we couldn't get rid of it, so we need to self-destruct. Yeah, store it. Try that before you give up. Bring the ship properly into the hangar. Store it, wait until no animation is going on. All lights are back on, then press the elevator button and leave. We do that. We have a YouTube channel, you can see we did lazy trading. It's the title. We did lazy trading with the C2. The method is purely the same. If you can check our videos, you can scroll to, you can skip a little bit. You do not need to watch the whole video. Just where it comes to the storing part and loading the commodities into the ship. And we repeated it over and over again to basically verify, yes, it works. And that should give you an idea of. And then I would definitely recommend retry before give up. Because there is another thing with the raft. This is something, even after a week, we didn't figure that out. When you have, I think it's 2 SCUs in heights that you can, or 1 8 SCU box, which is 2 SCU in height, where you can attach to the grid. But when you have 2 SCUs in height, box level, then you can track to beam the box that is on the grid itself. You can detach that box, and the box below will also fall off the ship. So you can fast offloading, we would say. We didn't figure that out even after 1 week. Maybe it was because our internal, because we already knew that we do not like the raft, and it was like an inner blockade, so Yeah, there are other aspects why we don't like the raft. Never did like the raft and never will. It is just the Argo ship. The Argo ship. We did some testings in our ship reviews. Maybe you will see that in live streams where we did ship reviews. We stand behind the rear legs or rear gear of the ship, and we count the seconds, how much time it takes from in between the legs, basically, into the pilot seat, and from the pilot seat of the ship. And if there is like a tractor beam or a cargo area, how much time it takes to go from the pilot seat into the cargo area where you can load or detach boxes. And the raft takes way too much time, because the only one thing that you can do is using the elevator. And that is, let's say, a single point of the bottleneck of the time issue there. That is a big thing why we didn't like the raft, never did. And the other thing is the door layout. I mean, everybody knows Crusader ships has lots of doors, but we have to say Argo has the same amount of doors, kinda, and they don't work properly. They don't work properly. It's just, it's not user friendly. It's not. It has an industrial look and feel, definitely, and we kind of like that, but it's not efficient enough. The Argo supposed to be a cargo ship, but it's not built for efficiency. Yeah, yeah. You can add me on as friends if you like. We can show you a proper tour where you can start easy money. Starter capital would be 1 mil. That is not that much, of course, and you will not do much of profit, but you can do constantly increasing. The idea is if you make fast money, you will lose fast money. It's kind of like the boomerang, what goes around comes around. And it's not only what goes around comes around, it's how goes around comes around. So if you gradually increase your capital, you know what goes into that increasement, that amount of money. I mean, we are basically broke. We only have 10 mil, but we have 10 mil. We had 10 mil on our bank account, but we have another 5 mils in form of boxes, like hard assets. And if you go in your mindset, as a capitalist mindset, if you go in that place that you say, it's not my money. The money itself is a tool like the ship, and the money has to work like it has to be intended. Then it's not for the money rush. It's not the greed that drives you. It is more the satisfaction of seeing the gradually increase of your capital. So this is just our kind of mindset. We need to remind ourselves every now and then that we want to have a gradually. And as you can see here, we have 456 Alcatrucian in the warehouse, but we also have another 470 SUs Etym here. But that means we have 800 SUs in the warehouse. And the problem is the limitation of the inventory is 1,000 SUs. But on the elevator outside, we have maxed out. I can show you here. We offloaded all the boxes, as you can see here. All the boxes we could on this elevator, and the other elevator on the other side as well, the same way, to make sure that the inventory is below 1,000 SCUs, so that we can buy these 5 SCUs of Ocean Heights, if we can make it, just for the thrill. Yeah, it's not the money, it's not the greed, it's not the amount of profit per SCU will make, it's just the experience to be able to buy that particular commodity. Yes, pyro is better money, to be quite fair. And the other main reason why we mainly, not always and not exclusively, the reason why we do trading in pyro is here you have the opportunity to defend yourself without legal consequences. This is something that pisses us off in Stanton. You cannot defend yourself, and if you do, you will get crime stat. That's why we absolutely in a lawless mindset. That doesn't mean that we do criminal stuff. That just means lawless. It's not like the survival of the fittest aspect. It's more to live and let live. You know what I'm saying? It's more to live and let live. has the driving forces. What we experienced here at Golden Riviera, we are at Golden Riviera. You can load a whole sea all by yourself, and it takes half an hour, and there will be other players come and go loading their ship, and you will never have any interaction. This experience we never had, or almost never had, in Citizen for Prosperity locations. Because the thing is, when you go to Golden Riviera or whatever, you need to be at least neutral, if not inside the faction, so that you can land there without any interruption. But that means every pirate on that location is also inside the same faction, otherwise he couldn't go there. Or with a hoverbike, for example, he could go, of course, but other than that he could not. That means faction members fight against each other. Faction members pirate each other, which is completely nonsense. I mean, CRG should implement a proper faction module, we would say, where it is kind of like an unwritten code. If you fight another faction member on faction territory, that will have consequences. Not in a legal sense, but it will have consequences. Of course, in form of reputation. But yeah, the thing is here you can defend yourself. That's the only one thing. And pirates know that. Pirates know that if they want to pirate you, they need to be smart. They need to be fast, and they need to have an idea before they approach, or apprehend. And yeah, that is challenging for both. For the pirate and for us as well, and we highly appreciate that, because we can learn a lot. We can learn a lot from these pirates. But in Stanton, of course, there is also potential to learn, but it's a completely different type of piracy. Yeah. Self-defense and better profit is the main reason. But we have to say that we usually also do that most of the time on low pop charts. We have friends that also prefer to be on low pop charts, and we would say we have so many friends that we can basically do that every day at any time, and we will have someone on a low pop chart. That makes it doable, absolutely doable, to do trading in Pyro. And every now and then, of course, a pirate will show up, because sometimes it's also the opportunity. You give them the opportunity to steal. And but it's not a constantly over the shoulder looking, which is nice. So you can really focus on your gameplay. Whatnot. Okay, so now we have 1917. There should have been an inventory cycle at 1915, but there wasn't. Etym is still at 106. But that doesn't mean that there wasn't an inventory cycle. That just doesn't mean that Etym has no increase after every 12 min. But we haven't checked on Alcatrucian. So 17, let's say, next one would be 24. $1927 would be the next cycle, that is in 9 minutes. No, look here, Alcatrucian just rose. Etym also rose to max, but it's not max, it's just the status is max. And Assign Heights, was there a change in price? Yes. Okay, so we know now there is still this 12 minutes commodity cycle going on, in what form or ever that will happen. But what we notice is the price dropped. Not the amount of SEUs increased, but the price dropped. Yeah, PvE is called player versus environment. And trading is basically environment. Because usually you don't have interaction with other players. And the V stands for against. Player versus player. Yeah. When did you start? The currency is AUEC. The A stands for alpha, and UEC is for United Earth Credits. It's just like, it doesn't matter if there is dollar, euro, UEC, it doesn't matter, it's just a currency. But that is the reason why it's particular, this one. Alpha UEC. Yeah, what is your smallest ship you have that has cargo capacity? Okay, so you have the Mustang. Mustang is nowadays the cheapest ship, but they said, CIG said, they will bring back the Aurora in the same price range. They should do, absolutely should do. Because the Mustang is useless. Absolutely useless. Yeah, that's why. You can rent the raft if you know what you want to do. And the Freelancer Max. Do you have subscription? You can do, there are 2 subscription models. The small one, I think Centurion is the name, and the other one, don't know. If you do a subscription, the smaller one, you will get a ship of the month for free, basically addition to the Mustang. That is kind of like linked to your account. You can retrieve, claim and retrieve as if it's your own ship. And sometimes you have a ship that has cargo capacity. This is great. Sometimes you have something like a fighter. Then you cannot do trading, of course. But that would be if you want to be, let's say, careful with your IRL money. Don't want to spend too much. This would be an opportunity. Of course, you need to calculate, because when you spend, let's say, 12 IRL per month, that would be also 140 in a year. And what ships are available for 140. But the thing is, when you do not spend much money on one ship, this is the basic recommendation. Do not spend too much money in one ship. What you could do would be upgrade the Mustang to a 300i series. There are 3 models. The smallest one has 4 SCUs. Absolutely do not recommend doing trading with that one. And there is another one with 12 SCU. Also do not recommend to trade with that one, because removing the boxes from the grid is a pain. But it has some cargo capacity. It's a nice flying. It has a bed. This is important, at least to us, that we can bed log. Yeah, when we would restart with the Mustang, the bed would be something that we would miss. So 1927 should be another cycle that is in 3 minutes. Now the issue is, okay, here, Alcatrucian, here we can see if the number changes in less than 3 minutes. Yeah, either you do the subscription model, then you get every month another ship to test out, try out, whatnot, or you upgrade the Mustang to a 300i. Let's have a check. Can we show that? Do we have opportunity here? Not that easy. Yeah, but do you like it? Or is it more like forcing yourself to get into it? Yeah, it's kind of like swapping. It's called CCU. CCU stands for Cross Chassis Upgrade. That means you can have a CO Mustang and you can do an upgrade to a Crusader Intrepid, for example. That is a cross chassis. It's completely a different chip. But the upgrade is in a monetary sense. That means the Mustang, I think, is $30, and let's say the Intrepid is $60. That would be, in a financial manner, would be an upgrade. So you will not spend $60 for the Intrepid, for an example, but you will have the $60 for the Intrepid minus this ship value of the Mustang, which is 30. That means you only would pay additional 30 to get the Intrepid, because you exchange, basically, you give back in some sort. You exchange the Mustang with the Intrepid. And for that exchange is the value of money you put into the project is already there in form of 30 IRL for the Mustang. If you want to upgrade to the Intrepid, that costs 60. So you need to give an additional 30 plus, I think, $2 or something for transaction fees and whatnot. So you only spend $32 to get this $60 Intrepid. But you will lose, in some sense, the Mustang. And you cannot do a revert on your game package. This is important. This is the mistake that we did. We upgraded to a ship that we actually wanted to give to someone, but it was our game package, and we cannot revert that. Do not upgrade your ship, your game package, too fast too fast on too big ships. Keep that ship as small as possible. If you're fancy with I mean, if you get into Star Citizen, if you start liking it and you are kind of invested in some sort of gameplay, you want to find out what kind of gameplay it is. As long as you do not know what kind of gameplay you want to do not spend IRL money into it. Rent ships. There are a lot of ships available to rent. This is new. New since 4.0, of course, but it's kind of new. Rent, test everything out, like we did with the raft. We know we would never spend money into the raft, not even Alpha UEC, because we tested it out. We know now. And yeah, if you are willing to spend money into that project, you could remain the Mustang as a game package as it is, and pledge for a standalone ship. But even there, we recommend only a small ship. Small regarding of the amount of money you put into that ship, but also the size of the ship should be small, or at least not bigger than medium. Because that standalone ship you can upgrade without having a change on the game package. And if you get invested even more later on, maybe, and you, let's say, you want to have a C2. It's just an example. If you want to have a C2 that costs a lot of money, but you already spent in that standalone ship some money, but maybe you upgraded that to another ship, but it's still not a C2, and then maybe a half year later you upgraded that one standalone ship even more to something a little bit bigger. Every time you upgrade, you put a little bit more money into this project. So at the end, when you know what kind of gameplay you want to play and you want to have the C2, you can upgrade that ship to the C2, which has a value of 500, but maybe you do not spend, definitely do not spend 500 for the ship. You will spend maybe, I don't know, 200, because you already spent 300 in other ship upgrades over a course of a year or two or whatnot. So you have then basically two ships. If there would be a full wipe, you will have, after the wipe, two ships available. The Mustang Alpha as a game package, and the one standalone ship to whatever state you upgraded that ship. And if you have, let's say, the C2 is an upgraded ship through the standalone ship, and the C2 is a large ship. That means in your primary location you always will have a large hangar. And if the second ship, the CO Mustang, the first ship would be the CO Mustang and the second ship would be the C2, every time when you retrieve the CO Mustang will be spawned in your large hangar. And you walk a lot and you do not want to walk a lot, whatnot. So this is kind of a luxury problem. But yeah, we did mistakes with the CCU chain. If we would have known that earlier and if we understood the CCO chain better, then we would not need to make tickets at CIG. Yeah, you can, in your hangar, you can say ship upgrade. Then on the left side you select the ships that are upgradable. And on the right side you see the ships that are compatible to upgrade from that particular ship. And I guess that whatever ship they offer you to upgrade from the CO Mustang is still useless. Sorry to say that, but it's just useless in the sense of we know what we are doing inside the verse. We are salvagers and trading is our side hustle. And so we always want to have SU capacities and more or less a decent ship. So the time from outside the ship to the pilot seat should be under 20 seconds. If it takes longer than 20 seconds, the ship is nothing for us. That is just a standard that we set to ourselves in order to make sure. Yeah, what we also could recommend if you want to look into it, and we recommend to spend time looking into it to comprehend before you spend more money. is an app, a web app called CCU Game App. There you can link, you can create an account, and as soon as you did that, logged in, you can link your Robot Space Industries account to that CCU Game website account, and they will load all your MyHanger data into their application, and then you can play around with CCU chains. I try to show you. Did you see the link? CCU Game App. So we need to be careful that we do not miss the point of desktop. Now you should see on the left side we have our data. We are signed in. We can say refresh all. It takes a while to load all the data, but when it's done, you see here this not the ships. These are the ships we kinda have. And you see the pledge amount according to the Robot Space Industries and how much money we saved. And here you can see this 300i is a CCU upgrade from our game package, the Aurora, which was a mistake. Not because we want to keep up to the Aurora, but we do not want to have that 300i. And from here you can see your items. Once you link your accounts, you can refresh and you will see all your ships. And then down here you see CCU chains. Create a CCU chain, and here you can play around of opportunities. Let's say from store any insurance automatically, and you will say, let's keep it simple, the C2, you want to do hauling, trading or whatnot, that is the thing you want to do, and you see the hull C would cost 400 something, but at Robot Space Industries website is shop. Ship. It's now not available, but that's not the problem. The C2 is listed with 400 IRL if you want to do it over here. And here you say, okay, choose automatically, or you can say choose from your hangar. Then you would choose the Mustang, of course, but that is what you have on your website anyways. And here you can say, okay, what options are there? You can come from an Aurora ES to the C2. That means the Aurora is 20 bucks. And you would save some money. Yeah, spend some time in it, because they say ship melt. Yeah, this is interesting. They say the ship value is 400. That doesn't mean that you pay 400. They say the value is 400. It means if you melt this ship, you will have 400 in your store credit. But it might be that you pay more for the ship once it becomes available to pledge for it. But you can do another way around. You can say, okay, create a CCU chain where you want to, can we get rid of this one? Create a CCU chain where you save highest. Don't exclude, okay, it's just, you can leave it default. But you can say, okay, now you have the Aurora. It's obviously, the Aurora is a cheap ship. You will not save any money from upgrading from the Mustang directly to the C2. But you can find out which one is the highest saving, simulate, in order to spend less money for the Hercules. And they offer to tell you, you can spend now 108 for the standalone Wolf now, as long as it's available, and you can upgrade from the Wolf to the Hercules, and at the end you will save 10 IRL. So you do not... No, fuck. Oh shit. Our session is disconnected. No. Yeah, so you can save some money. Yeah, that's why CCO chains. And let's say you pledged for another cheap ship, relatively cheap ship. You say you pledged for the 300 dry I was talking about before. This is your ship, and you want to go from the 300 dry to the C2, create a chain, simulate, and you see you will not save any money because it's a simulation, but you already spent 65 IRL for the 300. That means that 400 that they want to have for the C2 minus 60 will be that kind of a 300. This is how CCU chaining would work. And if you have, for whatever reason, like we did, pledged for a too big ship you do not want to have, or it's just not the thing you want, you can melt a ship. And in the ship store on RSI it would be called melting. Not melting. Melting is... Yeah, this website is stupidly poor and slow. In your hangar. Yeah, I'm just saying it's more like the thought process. Let's say you have a ship. Do we have a ship? Yeah, this one. It's a standalone ship, the Meteor. And here you would say exchange. An exchange would say you give it back, and in exchange you will get some money. And this 240 is the so-called ship value, they say. So if we would melt the Meteor, we will get 240 store credit. And the store credit you also see here, we have now 68 store credit because we sold some paints from ships we don't have anymore because they took it away after our previous patch release. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, and one thing is what CIG is really great in doing it is increasing expectation, increasing dreams. And there was once a pitch where Christ Roberts was saying he has a space dream of a Navy pilot, and the result of that dream is Squadron 42. And the narrative is Star Citizen as a platform is basically when this soldier, this space soldier, is out of duty, he needs to spend time, yeah. And Star Citizen, the verse, is basically the platform for spending time when off duty. And all they do when they pitch for concept ships, when they pitch for any ship in general, then they manage to create some sort of a vision, a space dream of what could you do with that ship? Would that give you some, at least, satisfaction? This is important. If it doesn't, it's nothing good. Some satisfaction. Does it give you joy? Does it give you a gameplay? Yeah, if you know what you want to do in the verse, then you will have a gameplay. And they are really good in selling that kind of stuff. But every now and then it might be that you are tired of doing trading, but you have a ship, you do not have a use for it. Might be that you want to get rid of a ship. Even we did. We had the RSI Tues. Our combination, our first time we started to spend money into this project beside the starter pack was the combination of Vulture and Tues. $300 because we already knew this is our gameplay, this gives us joy, this is what we want to do in the verse. And this combination of Tues, get up, the Tues as a cargo ship for transport all the boxes we created with the Vulture, and the Vulture for scrapping stuff. Nice gameplay, we spent IRL. But then the thing is, they nerfed the gameplay of salvaging. They dropped the prices on RMCs. They dropped the prices so low that we would need to say the effort to create boxes is not worth the money we get out of these boxes is not worth the effort to create them. And that's why we started doing trading, because when we see, okay, it is still a slow increase of money, but it also gives joy. And then we started doing the reputation work. Fuck, where are we? The reputation work for Kovalex, just to make our 1 mil starter box. And then we figured out what trading actually is, and so we started trading, and that gives us even more joy, because we need to figure out routes, we need to do the research, where to buy, what to buy, when to deliver, where to deliver, and even how to deliver. Meanwhile, we do mass trading, that means 1,000 SCUs. We fill up that inventory at the selling location before we click on sell. Yeah, and that's why we melted. We didn't really melt the C2, we upgraded it to something bigger. And the Vulture we still have, of course. And there were other ships we pledged for and melted it, or just our gameplay changed a bit. We still do the same stuff, we are still salvagers, we still do trading, but the Tues is too limited. The same goes for the Taurus. The Taurus would be a good alternative to the raft. You also can rent it. Was a good starter ship for static trading, the Taurus, but now the ship is too slow. For whatever reason, it just feels like too slow. So we use the C2 and M2, but they are also slow ships, but the amount of boxes we can transport with that ship for that low speed of moving is kind of like compensating. And this is something that is one thing that persists here in the verse. Bugs, glitches and changes. That's reliable, definitely. So we hope that the commodity is still available. Yeah, this ship is also useless as bullshit. I mean, it is alien-like, absolutely, but it's fucking bullshit to fly. because it's not control. It's not control to land. It is backward. All right. So we need to make sure. Yeah, this is also a reason. The Zulen is a small ship, but it's fucking not usable. Come on, open. Half an hour. Assigned. The price is dropping. The price is dropping, but no increase in. This is really interesting. Yeah, if you really want to do trading, you can connect. We are a small crew, reliable, decent men. You can team up. We have ships you can use to have a tryout, test out. Rathon is even more into trading than I am. But he lost the M2 in the last patch, so he's kind of pissed off. But in the fall, there is the Space Aero Exposition event. And this is also always a good opportunity to have better offers, cheaper ship. So we would recommend find out what ship you would need to have a decent, satisfying gameplay. And if you found one, you can either upgrade from your Mustang or pledge for your first standalone ship that will be your CCU chain start, but gives you the most gameplay. Yeah, we have a friend in our crew, a young buck, only 13 or so, and he's dreaming as well, of course. And he dreams of that ship, the C2. Now he grinded. He only needs 4 mil, and he would have the money for the C2. And now he starts to like to have the 400i from Origin. Is cheaper. He would have the money already to buy that one. And he asked us, should I buy? And I said, what kind of gameplay do you have with that ship? And he said, yeah, none. It's just fancy, fun, nice looking and whatnot. And yeah. So this is what you will have at the end. You will spend all the money you grinded for a beautiful, nice ship that is awesome to have a space trim, but it doesn't give you any money in return. In the sense of it doesn't give you a gameplay that makes you, again, money after you spend to have something more sustainable. You know what I'm saying? So for us, for example, we want to have the 600i. The very first free fly event where was the 600i available, we did a test run on does that ship has the potential to be our crew main headquarter. And we did our 20-sec run from the rear gear to the pilot seat, which completely messed. But yeah, it is the ship. And since we saw that ship, the beauty, the style, the aesthetics, the way it flies and everything, this is the dream ship we have. And it costs something like 40 mil or something in-game. And we could grind and grind and grind to get that one. But at the end, we grinded so much to get that ship, and then we have the ship. What then? I mean, we still have the vulture, we still have a cargo ship, but what then? It's just a sort of mindset. Are you desire driven or dream driven? Is that your dream, what you want to do? Have a fancy ship in the world and you grind for the money to get that ship, or you spend even IRL money to have that ship, whatnot? Or is it more like role play in a real sense of doing a second life inside the world? Proper role play, yes. I'm a salvager, I do salvaging, and my hobby is trading. That's why I need to have ship that is applicable for that kind of gameplay. And the 600i doesn't anything to that kind of gameplay. So why should I buy it? Yeah, because it's nice, it's beautiful. I always dreamt of it. But I can guarantee you there will be a time we will have the 600i, but it's just not now. Yeah. Put some effort into the CCU chain. Watch some YouTube videos, couple of YouTube videos. Read the website I linked here in the chat. And another aspect what the usual gamer, the average video gamer would like to have, because this is in the game theory, yeah? What is the game of Star Citizen as a game? Most people think, you need to play the game, make money in order to buy ships, fancy, nice ships, or ships that unlocks you different type of gameplay. And with the latter, we totally agree. Each ship has its upside and downside, some functionality, some not. And whatever gameplay you want to have or you play, you need to have an appropriate chip for that. And how do you get that chip? You grind for money, of course. But some people want to have them all the ships available in game. That's why they grind, and then they show off. I have all the ships. I have now 20 ships. I have now 30 ships and whatnot. And we would say, yeah, but how long do you scroll down in your fleet manager to get that particular one ship you want to fly now? And we do not want to scroll, but we scroll when we are in the hangar. We scroll, and we do not like that. And we are thinking about getting rid of ships, melting, in order to keep our fleet list short, so that we do not need to scroll that much. And this is something that's why we recommend. It would be, if you start liking Star Citizen really, and you are willing to spend a little bit more money, then we would recommend pledge a cheap standalone chip that does something what your game package does not. Definitely, it should unlock a certain gameplay. And then you have 2 ships in your fleet manager. And even if you buy ships in-game, in addition, I think you can buy 5, or you can have 5 ships in your ship fleet, and you do not need to scroll. But when there will be a wipe, and there will be a wipe, but not now, not tomorrow, and not next month, but there will be a wipe, then you have 2 ships you start out with. And that's good, because then you still have the urge to grind, but you still have a little bit more than just a useless CO Mustang. Yeah, talked a lot. So interestingly, what does happen here? Now we have 1 hour. We spent 1 hour here on this location. Everything else is on max, and on assign heights only the price changed. Interestingly, nobody showed up and stole our boxes, and that's what we meant. Headhunter's location works differently. Even there, even the second elevator, nobody touched our boxes. Yeah, be right back. still there, but the price is still dropping. Yeah, in total it would be now 1.5 hour we are standing here around. Just to have that experience, to be able to buy at least once. Once in your lifetime. Yeah. You still there? Daytime outside. Still nobody showed up. Yeah. Another thing what we noticed is the turret doesn't work. Would mean you could go to become a race, fly directly to it without getting shot down from the turrets. Yo, Theresia, what's up? Do you recognize the terminal here? We have a high probability to have the chance to buy the very first time since January to buy Osoyan Heights. Price dropped even more. Now we are on 286.585 per SU. It's a massive price difference. I mean, at the end it's just 4 SU, but it's 15k difference. Yo, Theresia, what is that VT? What is that? We met some other players here in the verse that also had that VT in their name. Yeah, still very high. It's fucking amazing. What are we now? 2 hours here? Yeah, they could increase the challenge massively by having a very low temperature here. So that you would need to go away as this typical Buddhist philosophy, life is suffer. And the idea of suffering would be make it freezing cold here in order to have the urge to go back to the ship or have a proper suit to be able to buy the stuff. Yeah, so Rathon is loading or unloading, however you want to call it, the stuff from the Vulture over to his Asgard. And then he will go back to Stanton to meet another friend. And we are waiting for the inventory commodity cycle. Yeah. We need to have a short break. Yeah, I think this was the trading or the attempt to trade. But it's really interesting to see that these Osoyan heights are actually actually available, and there is movement going on. This is the very first time we saw that with our very own eyes. So now what do we need to do? We need to make sure that we do bad luck. The question in what ship? Max! Nice that we see that. No, we cannot. What the fuck? 12:46. 12:46. 20:46. Oh, we need to wait. We need to wait. And price dropped even more. But that 4 SU will cost 1.2 mil. 8 more minutes to the next cycle. Nobody's here. Fuck, why do we have drugs in our backpack? No space. Four more minutes. 2 more minutes. One more minute. Yeah, this should have been price changed, but still not able to buy. God damn it. So I could go up to arbitrary, store the ship if possible, come down and retry.
A-class vehicle retrieval system. Please visit us again.
Can I not store?
Welcome to the A-class vehicle retrieval system. Your insurance claim has been sent. Your insurance claim has been sent. Your insurance claim has been sent. Your vehicle has been moved to our storage facility. Your insurance claim has been sent. Your vehicle has been moved to our storage facility. Your insurance claim has... Your vehicle has been moved to our storage facility. Vehicle, please visit us again. Welcome to the A-class vehicle retrieval system. Your vehicle has been visited again.
Oba, Fluffy, how are you? Yeah, I can read the chat. I need to Alt-Tab out of Star Citizen in order to read the chat, but we do. How are you doing? We are in our final steps. For today's session.
Quantum drive deactivated.
Hope we don't crash. You'll never know.
Shield system active. Docking request initiated. Docking has been denied. Landing gear deployed. Force system deactivated.
still there. Price even lower. That's it. Thanks for watching. See ya next time.